right, so I'm going to look for a crossover point, right? So when the RSI crosses 70, or when the RSI crosses 30, there we go. Yeah, or when the RSI crosses 30. So with that, all right, let's give this a name here. There. All right, so if the RSI crosses 70 or 30, so let's grab a crossover solver. And let's see. All right, so yeah, I'm going to need 2 of them. All right, so the first one is just going to be the RSI crossing 70. And let's see. All right, so we want, so input A will be the RSI. There we go. And we want the RSI plot already selected for us. And of course, I'm just going to use the default RSI periods there. And input B, that's going to be the 70 value. So I'm going to select fixed value, all right, because 70 is fixed. So there we go. Oh, not 0.70. I want 70. There we go. And there we have it, right? Crosses, RSI crosses up, we get a long. RSI crosses down, we get a short. Now, I'm just going to assume that when it crosses up, we're only interested in a long. So the evaluate here, I'm going to set it to long only. Right, so now we only see when the RSI crosses above 70, right? Crosses up. And so then I'll take this, make a copy of it, paste it, there we go. And this will be the RSI crossing 30. And so down here in our fixed value, I'm going to change that down to 30, right, for input B. But also the evaluate, I want short signals now. Let's connect that up. Right, there we go. RSI crosses down below 30, we get a short. When it crosses above 30, right, there's no long, only when it crosses down. And so next, I need I need an OR node. There we go. All right, so with the OR node, right, there you go. Now I get my long cross ups and my short cross downs all together. And so what I can do is, let's close that. And I can now stick that inside of this fairly new indicator. So if we go into the tools, we have the BloodHound Setup Bar Prices, right? Setup Bar Prices. Basically, the RSI crossing the 70 and 30 is our setup situation, right? That's the setup for then looking for price to go another 15 pips or ticks higher. So let's see here. What did I do? Oh, I just closed out of it. Okay. So let's add that there. And so in the setup bar price indicator, right, I'm going to load in my BloodHound file. So that would be today's workshop file. And then I have to select which logic template I want the signals from, right? Because what I want to do is I want to monitor these long signals and short signals. So that's going to be our RSI crossover, right? And let's see, next, let's see, yeah, we'll monitor the high price and the low price of the bar. So let's click OK, right?
And there you have it. So when you get your RSI crossing 70, the setup bar price indicator will track the high price of the bar or the low price of the bar. And so from there, you can now check. So, like for example, here, right, RSI crossed down, and it definitely looks like, price definitely went 15 ticks lower here. And so we now need another BloodHound template to finish this off, to actually get the signals. So, actually, what I'm going to do, let's see here. I'm going to copy these nodes here. And then, let's see, let me save this. Then I'm going to do a save as. Actually, no. I'm going to clear this out. Actually, no. I'm going to add a second BloodHound on the chart. Now, I think that'll be a little bit easier for me. All right, so I have 2 BloodHounds on the chart. Let's see, let's open up the second one there so we can see it says, the new one that I just added says empty template. So I can open up that one and paste my logic in there. There we go. Connect that up. And then I need to save this to a separate file. So this is critical, right? Your system or your logic that's being fed into the bar price indicator must be a separate BloodHound file, right? You can't build the entire thing in the same BloodHound file, because you'll create an infinite loop and crash NinjaTrader. All right, so there you go. We'll give this a simple little name here. Save that out. All right, there we go. So this, this simple little, the setup condition that we're looking for, right, is in its own BloodHound file, right? So yeah, there we go, right? So we have the same signals there. And so now let me go back to the workshop file. Here we go. Let's go back here. So I need to actually delete this now. And let me close that out. But also let me go into, I'm going into the setup bar price indicator, and I'm going to load in this new BloodHound file, the RSI crossover one. Right there we go. Oh, oops, wrong one. So many moving parts going on here. Okay, let me go back into the indicator list, and there we go. So I loaded in the template file, but I didn't select the logic template, right? So remember, you always have to select the logic template. That's why our plots disappeared here. So once I do that, there we go. So there's the high and the low price from, so this plot is coming from the setup bar price indicator, right? And it is tracking those bar prices for me when you get a signal, right? And of course, the signals are coming from the RSI crossing the 70 and 30. So now, all right, now back to the main BloodHound file. All right, so back in our workshop file here. So now, let's see here. So now what we want to do is, so when we get this short signal, let's see here. Let's actually, yeah, you know what? I do need that logic. Oh, did I lose it? Nope, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so I do actually need these crossovers here to kind of, right, because if we're looking for price to go, you know, another 15 ticks lower, well, we only want to do that, you know, I'm assuming you only want to do that when the RSI had you know, crossed into the oversold, right? Because obviously here the RSI crossed into the overbought and it went lower, right? So, so again, you know, I don't have the details here, so I'm just going to make some assumptions. And so let's see here. What do I need? Yeah, let me just grab something like a signal extender. You know, and I'll say, you know, basically we'll give the market, you know, a 12 bar kind of opportunity, so to speak, you know, to make that lower lower, that higher high. And so then we now need a comparison solver. All right. So, right. So basically, we kind of have we've identified the periods, or we've identified the bars where we would look for a higher move in price, right? So when you get this long output, we'd then be looking for a higher movement in price. And if we have this short output, we'd then be looking for this lower movement in price. And what we'll be doing is, right, I guess we'll compare the close to that bar low, right? And that bar, right, where we have the red plot, right, that's the bar where the RSI had crossed below 30. Right, so we'll take that bar low and we'll compare that plot, which is coming from that bar low, and we'll compare that to the close of the bars and see if one of these bars closes that 15 ticks or pips lower. So we're going to take this comparison solver, and input A is going to be the bar prices, and we'll look at the close, and we'll make sure that the bar actually closed lower, and then compare that to input B. Right, input B is going to be that setup bar price indicator. So we're going to load that in there. And so we have to load in the BloodHound template. Right, so that is our separate RSI crossover template. Again, select the logic template, like so. Right, and basically that's it. And then we have to figure out what bar prices are we comparing against. So for a long signal, we'll compare it against the bar high. And for a short signal, we'll compare against the bar low. Right, you have all these other bar prices to compare against. So if you don't want to use the high and low prices of the bar, right, you could use the open and the close price if you wanted to, right, or any of the other, you could use the body high. So maybe, yeah, you want to be a little more liberal and just use the body high, So as long as, you know, the market moved a little higher than the body high or the body low. So, but in any case, I'll just use the low, I'm sorry, the high and the low prices, like so. And then we need to go into the comparison settings here. Open this up. So for a long signal, we want the close greater than, right, the setup bar prices plus 15, and it's not going to be points, it's going to be ticks. Ticks and pips are the same. So as far as NinjaTrader is concerned, ticks and pips are the same. So switch both of these. There you go. And so for a short, we want to take the close, right? So this is going to be the close of the current bar, and we want to make sure that the close is less than the setup bar prices, which is going to be the bar low, right? The bar low, and then we're subtracting, right, or minus 15 ticks. Let's see if we actually get something like that. And let's see, I'm on the NQ. All right, yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. Let's see if we can kind of narrow things down. Let's go with points on the NQ. So, yeah, and there we go. So, for example, right? Yeah, I mean, even 15 points isn't much on the NQ today, at least. Let's see. Yeah, the markets are decently volatile today on the NQ. So, but you know, here's where, right here is where the RSI crossed below 30, and then eventually, you know, we get a close that's 15 points lower. So, yep. And so now we can combine, we can clean this up and combine that together. There. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we need some filtering going on because, yeah, we're getting signals on the setup bar sometimes, right? So the bar that, yeah, that crosses the 70 or 30 on the RSI. So, yeah, so obviously we don't want a signal on the bar where the RSI crosses the 70-30. So let's see here. Oh, okay. So I'm going to move that back. And so in between, right, the RSI crossovers, I'm going to insert a look back node. And what we want from the look back node is this displacement function again. So let's label this. So we're displacing by 1, right? So when we look at this, right, remember the lower BloodHound, that's showing us the actual RSI crossover, right? So there you go. There's the RSI crossing 70. It's on this bar, but now we shifted it forward 1 bar, right? So that way, right, we don't actually want the ability to get a signal on the RSI crossing bar. We want it to be 1 bar after, right? We want to wait 1 bar after. So that's what this displacement does. And I need to take my signal extender and knock it down a bar. Well, I'm still getting signals on the RSI crossover bar. Let's see what's going on. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is something kind of new as well. I guess this must have been a subtle adjustment to NinjaTrader. So now we can actually get two bloodhounds painting the entire chart now with racing stars, whereas previously NinjaTrader only allowed one indicator to shade the entire chart, but now NinjaTrader's allowing two indicators to do that now, I guess, or multiple. Yeah, so I'm still not used to that. And so the RSI crossover signals are also painting right there. So that's that is throwing me off. So let me, oh, wait a minute. Let me just get rid of that bloodhound. There we go. There. Okay. So yeah. So now there's no signals on. There's no more signals on these crossover bars. So now we're seeing the final correct results there. All right. So basically, that's how you do it. And so the rest just kind of comes down to the details of, exactly how this should all work out. The details of what price points you want to use and all that. But the way you accomplish that is to use this somewhat new indicator, right? The setup bar price indicator. So just remember, the setup bar price indicator needs to have a completely separate BloodHound template loaded into it, right? And this BloodHound template, it only has the logic that looks for the setup situation, the setup condition, right? And so in Freddie's example, the RSI crossing 70.30 was the setup condition. And then you look further down the chart to see if price keeps moving lower, keeps moving higher to some point. And then, of course, if you get a bunch of signals like that, right, you could clean them up. You could easily clean them up by using a function node and then grabbing a signal blocker. Right, so we could, just grab a signal blocker. And since the signal extender is extending for 11 bars, the signal blocker might need to block for 10 bars, right? A maximum of 10 bars. And there we go. So now we kind of clean that up right there. So we just get the first signal whenever price goes 15 points. Yeah, remember, in this system, because I'm on the NQ, in this comparison solver, let's see here, let's give this a name here. It's a bit of a lengthy name there, but so, in this comparison solver, which is, checking if the close had moved 15 points lower, or actually, over here, if it moved 15 points higher, which actually we didn't get any signals there. Well, yeah, maybe. Oh, this was a cross down. Okay, yeah, never mind. I was expecting to see a long signal, but this was an RSI crossing down. Okay, so yeah, everything was okay. All right, let me knock that back down. There we go. So, okay, sorry. So, anyways, I was trying to get to showing you that, right, I set this up to be 15 points. And so, when you set it up for the Forex, you'll want to go into the rules window here, right, and change it from points to ticks, right, points to ticks. So,
But I'll leave it on points right now. There. All right, so that's this solver right here. There we go. There's a couple more signals right there. Let's see. All right, so I have 2 long signals. And all right, so I guess I do need to increase the signal blocker 1 extra bar. There we go. So that got rid of that extra long signal back there. All right, so that was Freddie's question there. And again, the key to this, right, is in this comparison solver, we're using the BloodHound Setup Bar Prices indicator. All right, looks like Freddie got his answer and learned something new. Cool. All right. There you go, Freddie. So you can just kind of take this kind of concept here and play around with it. And, remember that you need 2 BloodHound files here. So we will actually upload 2 BloodHound files for today, which is usually pretty rare. But, remember you need. So let me go into templates and go into BloodHound, right? So the workshop file is the signal generating template, right? That creates your entry signals, and the RSI crossover was the setup, the setup signals, right? That you use inside the setup bar prices indicator only, right? So this is kind of like the pre-setup condition, and then this BloodHound file actually generates the trade signals. Right? So just keep in mind you need both of these BloodHound files for this to work.